7 of season 4 of the paper thing. We are a mere 12 episodes away from the end of this season and the start of season 5, when all sorts of exciting new things will happen. I haven't decided what they'll be, but they will happen. In the meantime, today's show is a 4-paper show. It is The Guardian, The Times, The Sun, and The Daily Mail. The Guardian actually breaking a big story today, so we're going to go with The Guardian first. Hey, Slankmeyer, how are you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to the Gaslight and Coke Company, aka Britain. We're going to be starting with The Guardian in a second, as that is the most newsy of the newspapers today. Then we'll go for The Times, then The Sun, and finish with The Daily Mail. Yes. If you're afraid to go outside, but otherwise hunky-dory. Yeah, I'm the fact that they've thrown the doors of the nightclubs open is somewhat unnerving at best. Mark Canosis, the annual bit of good journalism from The Guardian. Yes, it's investigation-muss over at The Guardian. Right, so let's start with the front page of The Guardian. Top of the page, covering the stories that you'll see in the other papers, pretty much. Johnson and Sunak both isolating as angry public backlash forces U-turn. The U-turn happened in about 2.5 hours yesterday, so that was incredible. Chronotherm says, cannot believe the perfectly innocent and good nation of Israel is implicated in helping abuse journalists. Farage's fuckface says, everyone have a nice weekend. I drank for about 72 hours and publicly threw up in front of a lot of people. Solid. I did drink last night and woke up with a mild hangover this morning, but nothing as exciting as all that. Right, so rest of this page from The Guardian. Merkel calls for action on climate crisis after floods. I would simply have asked for climate action before the floods. The Guardian's main story today is the revelation of a huge leak of data, a huge data leak uncovering a global abuse of a spy weapon. I think that weapon cannot exist other than to be used for abuse. Anyway, elsewhere on the main lines on this story, the first day of probably a week-long investigation. It's heinous activists and journalists among thousands on the list. That includes the FT's editor, numerous other journalists. Jamal Khashoggi associates were targeted after his death using this tool, and Hungary, how Orban declared war on the media using this tool, as if Orban needed any excuse to declare war. So inside the paper on this Pegasus project story, investigation by The Guardian and other media outlets suggest regimes are using cyber surveillance weapon target journalists, human rights activists and politicians. In Mexico, the phones of at least 26 journalists were among 15,000 selected for possible surveillance under then President Enrique Pena Nieto. In the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, de facto ruler of Abu Dhabi, clients linked to the UAE government selected 10,000 numbers of interest. In India, traces of Pegasus were found on the phones of journalists, some of whom reported on the government of Narendra Modi. And in Hungary, the far-right government of Viktor Orban selected the phone numbers of multiple journalists and a media executive. So the story is, human rights activists, journalists and lawyers across the world have been targeted by authoritarian governments using hacking software sold by the Israeli surveillance company NSO Group, according to an investigation into a massive data leak. The investigation by The Guardian and 15 other media outlets suggests continuing abuse of NSO hacking software. There is no legitimate use of this software, in my opinion. Pegasus, which the company insists is only intended for use against criminals and terrorists. Well, again, if you're an authoritarian government, it's very easy to suggest who is a criminal or terrorist. All journalists count as criminals and terrorists if you are, for instance, a totalitarian leader. Pegasus infects iPhones and Android devices to enable its operators to extract messages, photos, and emails, record calls, and secretly activate microphones. The leak contains a list of more than 50,000 phone numbers that it is believed have been identified as persons of interest by clients of NSO since 2016. Farage's fuck face. Yeah, this is fucked up. If you don't like what a journalist writes, just contact the editor and get them fired. Yes, the classic manoeuvre by a very common manoeuvre. It's called the Tom Watson. In Hungary, reporters' mobiles infected as part of state's war on media. The FT editor, Rula Karloff, what is among those whose phones were targeted. Also, Greg Karlstrom, the Economist's Middle East reporter, Siddharth Varadarajan of The Wire India, co-founder of a site called Hacks and Incredible Intrusion. Omar Radi, a journalist who exposed official corruption in Morocco, was hacked in 2018-19. Bradley Hope of the Wall Street Journal, UAE is thought to have selected his phone as he fact-checked a book about dissidents. Edouard Plenel of Mediapart France, founder of online investigative outlet, was also selected as a potential target. Azerbaijan has been using this, Morocco, many regimes. So the Guardian does a lot of pages on this. On page 6, Jamal Khashoggi, Saudis behind spyware attack on his associates, the leak suggests. They targeted his fiancée, the prosecutor in Istanbul, and his wife, his former wife. Cecilio Pinedraberto, the murdered Mexican journalist's mobile number was selected by a client of the NSO group. So, there's a journalist who was murdered in 2017. Is it a great leap to say that NSO has blood on its hands there? I would say not. Hey, Studying Fangirl, good to see you. More pages on this, pages 8 and 9. NSO and Pegasus inside the developer of one of the world's most advanced hacking tools. It's got 60 customers, including government, intelligence agencies, law enforcement, and military organizations. Works in 40 countries, including Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. And it made £251 million in revenue from Pegasus in 2018. It's got 750 employees, principally based in the company's headquarters at Herzliya near Tel Aviv. It uses SMS, iMessage, WhatsApp, and other unknown vulnerabilities to attack phones. Paul Lewis, the Guardian's investigations editor, writes, "The leak shatters the lie that the innocent need not fear surveillance." Did it take that long? Is it like did we need this to tell us that? I think we knew that for a long time. Not new glasses. I've had these glasses for a while, but thank you. I'm glad you like them. Right. So anyway, about 7 or 8 pages worth on that today. It is a good investigation and an interesting one. No doubt the Guardian will be forced to smash up some hard drives anytime soon. On page 11, backlash and questions as Johnson U-turns on isolation. It literally did take 2.5 hours to go from him and Rishi Sunak putting out press releases saying that they would be taking part in the pilot scheme to them reverse ferreting away from that. On page 13, Neil Ferguson says there could be as many as 200,000 infections a day. So that's a worry. Jabs for under 18s may initially be restricted to the most vulnerable. Okay. France ruling hard to swallow in face of Freedom Day folly. Boris Johnson's pendulum swing from Freedom Day to unlocking with extreme caution has revealed a shift in government's thinking that the relaxing of restrictions at this stage comes with significant risk. Travel, M20 barriers go up even as channel crossings hit. Emergency road measures to handle post-Brexit queues in Kent have been restarted by the government to cope with potential holiday traffic, despite France's decision to further restrict cross-channel travel to the country. On page 17, calls for legal review of welfare screening system which takes age into account. An automated system that screens welfare claimants for risk they might commit fraud or error has based its verdicts in part on applicants' age. It's emerged. Xantura, a UK technology firm that provides risk-based verification, to 80 councils and assess hundreds of thousands of claimants, previously said it does not feed its algorithm any information protected under anti-discrimination laws. But its chief executive, Wajid Shafiq, has now admitted it weighs a claimant's age, which is a protected characteristic under the Equalities Act, to 2010, that means less favourable treatment for someone on the basis of that trait amounts to direct discrimination and may be illegal. Xantura spoke to The Guardian after the civil liberties campaign group Big Brother Watch obtained documents under the Freedom of Information Act providing a glimpse into how Xantura's system has operated. It automatically recommends riskier housing and council tax benefit claimants for tougher checks which can lead to delayed decisions. Making life harder for people in the worst situations. Best in Show, Swinton Spaniels win coveted Palme d'Or at Cannes. One of the most sought-after prizes in the movie world, not celebrated Palme d'Or for the best film, awarded on Saturday night to the French entry Titan. But its animal alternative, the Palme Dog, this year's coveted leather collar award, conferred for the best canine performance on screen, was given to Tilda Swinton's 3 Springer Spaniels as the prize celebrated its 20th anniversary, its 103rd in dog years. In favour of the Palme Dog. Starmer likely to back purge of far-left factions, reports Rajiv Sayal. We all know about this. We've seen it on Twitter, presumably. But nothing says you're running a party well like a purge, does it? Spanish woman in the UK sacked over Brexit rule. A Spanish woman who has lived in England for 44 years has been sacked from her job. She's unable to prove she has the right to work in the UK in a case illustrating the difficulties experienced by EU nationals as employees grapple with post-Brexit right to work regulations. 45-year-old who arrived in Britain as an 11-month-old baby and who's never left the country said she tried more than 200 times to get through to the Home Office helpline in the past 3 weeks. She's applied for settled stateless, but her application is in the backlog of over 500,000 cases. And as her family's main breadwinner with 2 children to support, she said her dismissal has left her struggling to buy food. Horrible. Yeah, you're right. The Guardian. You're right, Chronothome. The Guardian is barely hiding their erections over this purge. Lincoln says, yes, more bullshit, expensive technology to prevent the tiny number of people illegally claiming Social Security from succeeding, whilst penalising millions of other poor people in the process. Yep, basically. Is there a version of uncertain regard for weird-looking dogs? I hope so. Do it, Keith, you coward, says Mark Canosis. Basement refits now as long as loft conversions in London, say researchers. We ain't no shit. Comedian and quiz show host Tom O'Connor has died. He was 81. The first black actor to star as Christine in The Phantom of the Opera in the West End hopes it will help transform casting for women of colour in theatre. Lucy St. Louise will give her first performance in the musical this month when the show resumes its run at Her Majesty's Theatre. Good. Ghada Hari has quit the absurd parody of GB News as Farage joins. Nigel Farage's first show with GB News is tonight. If you want to know more about this stuff, I've written a couple of newsletters over the weekend analysing it a little bit. Check it out at brokenbottleboy.substack.com. In the world news, Germany must step up its fight against climate emergencies, says Angela Merkel. If only she knew someone who'd been Chancellor of Germany for, going on 15 years. Call for global Green Deal to aid pandemic recovery. Well, we keep getting these calls, don't we? And then it just never seems to arrive. Nesri Malik, one of the standout, actually, quality opinion writers in The Guardian, writes, for the right, this is just a brief retreat in the culture war. And she's right. John Harris, wearing his beard like a confused old folk singer, writes, politicians are missing the emergence of a kinder England. Where the fuck is that, John? I expect he found it on one of his safaris to the north. In the life... Frances Ryan, another actually good writer, says, today I've withdrawn from society again. She writes on behalf of others like her who are extremely clinically vulnerable and are, dealing with this so-called Freedom Day. Mark Canosis says, do it, Keith, you coward. Prescribe Momentum, JVL, Young Labour. Let's have a party of 25 hairless men. What kinder England? I know, ludicrous. A kinder England wouldn't have voted in a Boris Johnson administration. In the life and arts, funnier, chattier, naughtier, Gautier. Up close and personal with France's most fascinating designer. Yes, but we mostly know him for Eurotrash. Mark Canosis, he means Kinder England, chocolatey with a toy inside. It would be preferable. Can't be bothered with the Guardian letters. There is a correction today from the Guardian. Corrections and clarifications. Danielle Hussein, who was convicted of murdering Nicole Smallman and Bieber Henry, attended Thomas Tallis Comprehensive School in Blackheath, but not that school's sixth form as we implied in the report. Our coverage of this case should also have given Mina Smallman, the mother of the women, the honorific of the Venerable, as she is an Archdeacon Emeritus. Look, I'm reading some of the Guardian letters here, and there's literally a letter just slagging off Zara Sultana for doing the minimum level of opposition to Boris Johnson. This guy, Peter from Exeter, writes, Zara Toltana, a Coventry South MP, says that Boris Johnson is not fooling anyone with his sound bites. On the contrary, he's successfully fooling many millions of people, millions who vote for him, millions whom the Labour Party somehow managed not to reach or inspire. Oh, right, so what is the solution? More bloodless technocracy from Keir Starmer? I suspect that's where you'd be going with it. In the obituaries, very sad news of Biz Markie dying over the weekend has reached the Guardian's obituary pages. Biz Markie, born Marcel Theo Hall, the rapper, DJ and songwriter, born 8th April 1963, died 16th of July 2021. The headline they put on his obituary: US rapper admired for his humour and energy, best known for the 1989 hit Just a Friend. He did produce a lot of good stuff after that. Also in the obituaries, Carlos Reutemann, enigmatic Argentinian F1 racing driver who quit the sport abruptly and later entered politics. Yep, Zara Sultana is one of the 4 MPs that actually provide any opposition in Parliament, says Slinkby, and I agree. Mark Knowles says Starmer has moved away from bloodless technocracy. It's blood and soil technocracy now. Yes. Yes, RIP Biz, absolutely. Health systems on brink as Southeast Asia battles the Delta variant in the world news. Spain, ill-fated rail station and rail link to be reborn. It carries the nickname of the Titanic of the mountains, but now the monumental and ill-fated train station at Canfranc is to get a new life as a 5-star hotel 50 years after the international rail link across the Pyrenees closed. Story of Canfranc, a village 3,000 feet above sea level on the Franco-Spanish border, is a tale of vainglorious ambition, intrigue, smuggling, and century-long run of bad luck. It looks like the sort of location that Wes Anderson would love to set a film in. Frage as Fuck Flow says, Biz dies and Gilbert O'Sullivan lives. What's God playing at? Exactly. Rosie Rose says, points to a demiurge more than a benevolent deity. Yeah. Katie Hopkins has been forced to leave Australia amid outrage over quarantine video. She described lockdowns as the greatest hoax in human history. No, the greatest hoax in human history was her media career. What's that? Yeah, the greatest hoax. Yeah, on page 31, women can fight. The female militia battling for freedom and their homeland. This is Kurdish fighters. Yeah, there you go. Britney Spears won't perform while her father controls her career, nor should she. Rocketing pollution. Space race sparks fears for atmosphere. There we go. The billionaires will just fuck the atmosphere more as they aim to leave the planet to rot with the rest of us. Rashford is reflecting on possible soldier surgery. Manager says Manchester United forward is yet to make a decision over the operation. Conference time gives Europe's smaller clubs a leg up. Forget Spurs. Bohemians and New Saints are among those relishing their chance in a new competition. It's the Europa Conference League. I was spat at for being a Muslim. That's just how it was. Jason Mohammed, who will host the BBC's Olympics highlights show, talks about growing up with racist abuse, reconnecting with his faith, and becoming a role model. Jones could yet be the Joker in Gatland's pack, writes Robert Kitson about the rugby. Hockey champions look to find golden touch and keep nation glued to TVs. Rollercoaster ride featuring struggles and change of coach paved the way to Tokyo for Team GB's women's team. Panorama to claim former racehorses sent to slaughter. Programme says thousands of animals, mostly from Ireland, are killed in abattoirs. Well, the horse racing industry is a pretty fucked up industry, full stop. Van Aert keeps Cavendish from record in a Paris final. Yeah, that is in the Tour de France. Hamilton reels in Leclerc after crash takes out Verstappen. World champion cuts title gap after controversial victory in home Grand Prix. And on the back page, Olympics chaos. Team GB athletes and staff forced into self-isolation. And Morikawa magic at the Open. Debutant follows up his PGA glory to claim claret jug with flawless final round at Royal St. George. Kate Hobson was also answering the door to her hotel room fully nude when staff dropped off room service, which is just fucking gross, says Slinkmeyer. Yes, remember this is Kate Hopkins who first made it into the tabloids by being caught shagging someone who wasn't her husband in a field. Real classy woman. Chronotherm says hashtag girlboss Kurdistan, hashtag lean into fire machine guns better. Right, so that was a Guardian for me. Look, it's maybe a one. I give it a 5 today, just on the basis of the investigation, which it is sharing with a good number of other organisations. So not just it doesn't deserve the credit on its own. Okay, give me your scores for The Guardian while I do the roll call. I am the Broken Bottle Boy, of course. Follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. In the mod squad today, SK the Crusader. I expect he has some good streams this week, and he will tell you as such. In the chat, Achibis, Chris McRae, Commander Root, Yu-Gi-Oh! Everybody loves Ramondo, Farage as Fuck Face, Felix Gorton, 76, Chronotherm, Mark Kenosis, Morin Skell, Mogshed, Albert Camus, Pac-Man, Scratch Card, Rosie Rose, Salinka Maya, Snur, Studying Fangirl, TomToms, The Royal Flush, V&K, Virgo Pros, and Zip Shavit. Studying Fangirl, also tell us if you've got good streams coming up this week, or streams of any kind. They're always good. That would be cool. In the meantime, we're going to move on to the Times, shaking up the order today. It's going to go Times, Sun, then Daily Mail. Chronotherm says Katie Hopkins is 46, which is weird because I feel like she's poisoned British politics for centuries. In many ways, she's a bit like Rentoul. She's lived forever and may never die. SK the Crusader has got many streams this week. Binders full of streams. Yes. She is only 46. Jesus. Yeah, well, evil is, as we know, very aging. I refer you also to Nick Timothy. Right. Let's move on to the Times. All right, front page of the Times. Life after Philip, how the Queen keeps going. As person in the room mentioned to me earlier, the Queen just looks delighted, really. Shock news for anyone here, just to let you know, Prince Philip is dead. Be cautious, urges PM, as COVID predicted to surge. Yes, he's preparing to blame us all for the inevitable which he has caused. And on the right-hand side of the page, pressure grows on FA over chaos at Wembley. And in the Times too, we promised the pretty odious-sounding story of double jabbed and living it up in Marbs. Inside the paper, on page 3, various women dressed as Tudors cooling their feet in a river. We're promised today at 2 p.m. on Times Radio, Jess Phillips on her political career and her new book, Everything You Really Need to Know About Politics. What she didn't know is how to win a Labour leadership contest, but she did know how to keep hold of the £60,000 she brought in. Mark Kenosis says the Queen can go out for a curry again. That's why she's happy. Studying Fangirl, I too would be delighted to go out to be free of him. Oh man, I'm going to be doing something on that book. Oh, I want in on that. Right, yeah, here is the picture of the people dressed as Tudors with their feet in the river. Chronotherm says dressing as Tudors with naked feet, that's kink. Slinkermeyer says Jess Phillips needs to get in the bin. If you want some Jess Phillips needs to get in the bin style content, do read today's newsletter, which features some of that. There's a guy in the river with a snorkel, says Mark Kenosis. Women in the city face a golf handicap. Successful management consultants need to be problem solvers. One of the first problems a female consultant faces is how to get around the golf course with a lower score than her male rivals, staff at a leading firm claim. This is at people at EY, along with other service networks, including Deloitte, KPMG, and PwC, preach diversity and inclusion. Employees say, however, that skill in exclusive sport puts workers at an advantage climbing the corporate ladder. By the way, EY used to be called Ernst & Young. They've just changed it to that. SK says, unfortunately, the thing I'm doing with that isn't a stream, it's a podcast thing. Studying Fangirl glares at SK. Well, look forward to hearing the podcast. On page 5, cruel deaths of horse races shown in film from Abattoir. Well, I mean, who's surprised by this? Spike Lee is sorry for accidentally reading out the winner of the Palme d'Or earlier than it should have happened. Number 10 is ridiculed after Johnson's U-turn on staying in isolation. NHS staff go viral with TikTok films. Go viral. The Times and papers like this always say go viral, and it never is viral. Delaying inquiry is a disgrace, says scientific advisor. Boris Johnson's failure to start public inquiry into COVID this year is a disgrace that puts saving reputations ahead of saving lives. One of the government's leading scientific advisors has said. In the third extract from his book, Spike, The Virus versus the People, The Inside Story, serialized today in the Times, so Jeremy Farrar claims that there is no reason other than political manoeuvring to wait until next March to begin learning the lessons of the pandemic. Yes, I mean, that's true. Charles says he won't wear a face mask unless he has to. Fuck off, Prince Charles. Team GB's athletes forced to isolate after flight to Tokyo. More Wembley breaches. Uncovered fans at Euro 2020 stormed at least 9 points around the stadium, and they're trying to hunt them down because, remember, the Murdoch press is judge and jury. Prosecco loses its sparkle as Brexit bites. Brexit has put the brake on Prosecco exports to Britain, but sales to other countries have risen. The UK has now slipped into second place behind the US, but ahead of Germany and France. The number of bottles exported to Britain fell by 9% in the first quarter of this year to 26 million. The principal problems for exporting to the United Kingdom concern customs procedures and increased transport costs due to delays and stepped up controls. Oh dear, FBP ears. What a shame for you. Starmer set to ban poisonous Corbynista campaign group, says the Times. Absolutely delighted with itself about this. Poisonous. This fucking bullshit. Fill your glass with Balmoral's tribute ale. They've made a tribute ale to Prince Philip. What is it called? The Duke himself was said to favour Boddington's and Double Diamond Burton Ale. The new beer is called... I don't know what it's called. Anyway, who gives a fuck? Thieves take e-scooter after rider 16 is killed. Horrible. Stop Rhodes rage. African tutor tells Oxford Dons. Oxford academics should stop throwing tantrums over the statue of Cecil Rhodes and focus on addressing inequalities, according to Oriel College's only African tutor. Well, she's taken a... trying to get herself into these very papers, isn't she? Tortoise legs it half a mile in 1 year. Slow and steady wins the race, or in the case of Maxi, a 14-year-old tortoise from Wiltshire, it nearly gets you there. A year after escaping and moving at an average of 0.0007 miles per hour, Maxi was picked up half a mile from home and reunited with his owner. He had broken out of his enclosure by scaling a 12-inch fence and was found in a field by dog walkers. What if Maxi didn't want to live there? What if Maxi felt that he was escaping from a prison where he was imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit because he's a tortoise? Family tries to stop marriage to conman. A judge will decide whether a woman with a learning disability and a £1 million fortune should be allowed to marry a convicted thief and fraudster who her daughter believes is after her money. What a story. I stand Maxi. Maxi forever. Look at Maxi. What a dude. Right, moving on. A new DNA clue in the case of farmer murdered by the IRA. An investigation into one of the most horrific murders of the Troubles in Northern Ireland has uncovered DNA evidence that investigators hope will lead to prosecution. The police have been investigating the murder of Tom Oliver, 43, a farmer from County Louth, who was abducted, tortured and shot several times by the Provisional IRA in July 1991. Nitpicking video gamer leaks MOD tank secrets. This is one of my favourite stories of the year so far. Video game player leaked classified military documents online in a discussion about the accuracy of a tank battle game. The gamer, who says that he's a tank commander and gunnery instructor, questioned the accuracy of the design of the Challenger 2 tank in the popular video game War Thunder. He posted classified data on the game's message board and said that the game designers didn't model it properly. He posted pages from the official Challenger 2 Army Equipment Support publication, AESP, the tank's official use manual. Some of the documents were labelled UK restricted, according to UK Defence Journal, a website. The gamer, who calls himself Tidworth, posted a message alongside the AESP, linking those screenshots with the following edited image from the AESPs, which is meant to show the relationship of the various components. The image isn't exactly to scale, it's only meant to show the position of components relative to each other, but it works for the point I'm trying to make here. He said that documents related to a tank in the Tidworth garrison in Wiltshire, home of the Royal Tank Regiment, which operates Challenger 2s. War Thunder is a multiplayer military combat game that allows players to drive the tank and battle it out with other tanks, trucks, planes and ships from nations including Britain, Russia and Germany. Gaijin Entertainment, which publishes the game, has removed posts containing the classified material after the status of the documents became clear. Spokesman said, "We make it very clear we will not handle any source material unless it is publicly available and fully declassified with the rights to prove that." Its website later said the document remained classified, adding, "By continuing to disseminate it, you are in violation of the Official Secrets Act, an offence which can carry up to a 14-year prison sentence." That is true gaming. That is true gaming commitment, isn't it? Gamers rise up. Ferrage's Fuckface says the Prince Philip beer tastes of ashes and racism. Chronotherm, why would Prince Philip need a tribute ale? Has anything happened? Yeah, he's dead. Rosie Rose, obsessive nerds violating state secrecy has let us in on so much. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. He's just going to make points like, right, well, I've got classified money on it. Fucking... Anyway, moving on. It's really hot. Alex Massey says England's biggest argument is still with itself. Oh no, it's with everyone. Lithuania leads way in standing up to China, says Edward Lucas. Is that right? And Libby Purvis says, be like Florence and fling open those windows. Right. In the birthdays today, Benedict Cumberbatch is 47. Cyril Bolloré, the chairman and chief executive of Bolloré Group Transport, is 36. Dame Evelyn Glennie, the percussionist and jewellery designer, is 56. Angela Griffin, the actress, is 45. Stephen Hill, the chairman of the Alzheimer's Society, is 61. Dame Carol Jordan, the astronomer, emeritus professor of physics at the University of Oxford, is 80. Vitaly Klitschko, former world heavyweight boxing champion, now mayor of Kiev, is 50. Lord Herbert Laming, chairman of committees of the House of Lords since 2016, is 85. David Lammy, Labour MP for Tottenham, Shadow Lord Chancellor, Shadow Justice Secretary, is 49. Ilie Nastase, the Romanian tennis player and former world number 1, is 75. Sir Jack Petchy, the businessman and philanthropist, is 96. Professor Sir Nilesh Samani, the cardiologist, medical director of the British Heart Foundation, is 65. Howard Schultz, chairman emeritus of Starbucks, 68. Helen Skelton, the TV presenter, Blue Peter till 2013, is 38. Ed Smith, the cricketer, England national selector until 2021 and writer, is 44. Lord Henry Stevenson of Codnam, the chairman of HBOS until 2009, is 76. Nicola Sturgeon, First Minister of Scotland and leader of the Scottish National Party, is 51. Professor Sir Adrian Webb, the chairman of the National Lottery Community Fund for Wales until 2021, is 78. Mark Wigglesworth, the conductor and music director of the English National Opera, is 57. And Mary Kay Wilmers, the editor of the London Review of Books until 2021, now its consulting editor, is 83. On this day in 1545, the Mary Rose, the pride of Henry VIII's fleet, sank in the Solent with a loss of more than 350 lives. In 1847, Isambard Kingdom Brunel's SS Great Britain, commanding a screw propeller, iron hull and a 1,000 horsepower steam engine, was launched from Bristol. And in 1969, the Apollo 11 command module entered into orbit around the moon with Neil Armstrong, Edwin, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins on board before the first moon landing. The last word today goes to Buzz Aldrin from his book, No Dream is Too High, Life Lessons from a Man Who Walked on the Moon. Regardless of how you believe the universe was created, it is there waiting for humans to explore. A number of corrections and clarifications today for the Times. We said that the Conservative Middle East Council is no longer affiliated with the Conservative Party. This was incorrect. The golden coffin of Nejamank dates from the 1st century BC, not the 1st century AD, as we wrongly said. We wrongly stated that a group of GP practices in Cornwall was offering locum doctors £900 a day to help fill staffing gaps during the summer. Pay rates for locum shifts vary across the UK, and while some practices offer up to £900 a day, this particular group does not. We apologise for the error which was introduced in editing. There we go. In the world news, grandmothers join South Africa police to fight looters. Highly racialised coverage as ever. Sniggering Laschet damages his chance to succeed Merkel. The front row runner in the face for the German chancellorship apologised after being caught on camera laughing and joking during a visit to a town devastated in the Rhineland. Floods in Russia. MP suffers double trouble. A Kremlin critic standing for public office in St. Petersburg has accused the authorities of dirty tricks after it emerged that two people who share his name were running as rival candidates in an apparent effort to confuse voters. Wait for that to happen. For that to happen here. We're not talking about The Guardian right now, Mark. We're on The Times. But yes, that your point stands with that as well. Putin offers US bases to spy on the Taliban. Domingo banned from show in sex row. A provincial government in Spain has banned its orchestra from playing with Placido Domingo at a festival in September after earlier allegations of sexual harassment. Yeah, grand. Perfectly preserved coffin unearthed in Roman ruins. A Visigoth sarcophagus that could be more than 1,500 years old has been discovered among the ruins of a Roman villa in southern Spain. Do not open the cursed sarcophagus. It is very hot. I have to have the door closed so that I don't disturb the neighbours. On the front of the Times too, Call of Duty, the Queen's life after Philip. She just seems to be absolutely delighted and happy. That's what I take from all the pictures. From our correspondent in Spain, Isambard Wilkinson, the Times' Spanish correspondent, writes, Spain is a nation divided on many issues, none more heartfelt than the origins and composition of the perfect omelette. Right. Don't care. Oil nations agree deal to boost supply. Cinema boss on edge of seat after sternest screen test ever. That's Cineworld. Paul Johnson writes, whatever leveling up might mean, there's an age-old problem to tackle. In the obituary, Sir Graham Vick, founder of the Birmingham Opera Company, who took the art form into factories and challenged Glyndebourne's Black Tide patrons. Tom O'Connor, former maths teacher, popular comedian and 3 times winner of Opportunity Knocks, who presented Name That Tune. And John Hassel, trumpeter who worked with Brian Eno and was known for blending elements of many cultures to create fourth world music. And finally, Jovenel Moise, president of Haiti, whose rule was plagued by conflict and allegations of corruption. He was, of course, assassinated on the 7th of July. That is the Times. On the back page of the Times, Verstappen, Fury at Hamilton. Victoria's Britain accused of putting rival's life at risk in collision that left Dutchman in hospital. The Queen is playing Call of Duty, asked Chronotherm. Rosie Rose, Call of Duty Black Ops 5, HRH. Narconosis says, open the sarcophagus, we're due a good one. Okay, I'm going to do a speed round through the Sun, which is madness, really, as I'm fucking boiling here. But nonetheless, I'm going to do a speed run through the Sun before we move on to the Daily Mail. I think I can do the Sun in 2 minutes, which, again, it's madness. But let's have some madness. It's heat madness. Hey, Google, set timer for 2 minutes. Hey, Google, set timer for 2 minutes.
Sure, 2 minutes, starting now.
Okay, here we go. Front cover of the Sun. They're stalking Adele again. Someone you like, Adele? Like, just leave the woman alone. Smash in Lou victory. Lewis Hamilton's smash and grab at the British Grand Prix covered there. Now do the right ping, Boris. Whatever. Page 3 that isn't page 3 is Megan Fox wearing lingerie, and they're talking about the fact that she's in a film with her current partner, Machine Gun Kelly. UK trade win for 70 poorer nations is their claim. Don't trust Liz Truss as far as I could throw her. Bojo and Rishi humiliated in bid to dodge isolation, say the Sun. Time to test and replace. PM double standards fury. He's told to end pandemic. Their coverage of the weather at the weekend means excuses to put pictures of women in bikinis in. Moaning over white privilege is divisive. Baroness Faulkner said such terms are an unhelpful way of looking at society. Well, she can fuck off as well. Cadet 11 saves his choking little brother. An army cadet has saved his brother from choking. Date at the basketball with LeBron James' agent. That is who Adele was with. On page 11, Love Island shock. Lucinda's carrying on with Prem ace Aaron. Love Island's Lucinda Stuffers got back with her footballer ex before entering the villa. Various footballers on holiday. Swimmers, British swimmers in the Olympic Games wearing tiny bras. Britney Spears, my sis left me to drown in dad's clutches. She's speaking out against her sister. I'm getting the shell out of here is how they cover the tortoise. Rita Ora wore a bikini. Emma Raducanu was out wearing clothes. Amy Winehouse's dad, Mitch, says, I'll make sure she's remembered for good things. In the TV recommendations, they recommend Professor T, which is sort of a Poirot-esque type thing. Piers Morgan is described as the perfect Olympian by a person who trains him, which is pathetic. Someone's found in Dear Deirdre, someone's found their fella's porn videos of him with his exes. It seems foolish of him to left those lying around. Stop it. Nearly there. I'd say two and a half minutes if I can finish this. The £50 letter. Gerald Ganaway in Bristol says, surely the Information Commissioner could have has far better things to do than harass whistleblowers. Totally a letter written by people within the Sun. They try and sell lawnmowers. They try and get you to sell your house. And in the sport, Stormer, Lewis Glory, but Red Bull rage as he takes out Max. That is the Sun. Chronotherm says they have to ruin Adele's life now she's lost weight. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that was the Sun. Whew. Done in what? Just under 3 minutes. Piers Morgan, the perfect Olympian. How could anyone say those things without howling with laughter? Well, someone who, she's a trainer, so she's paid by him to say nice things about him, effectively. Right, now we come to the Daily Mail, the last of our papers today. Well, the Mail is desperate to get people to subscribe, so it's trying to bribe them with a 7-inch Fire tablet. Really not worth it, obviously. Now will Boris see sense on Pingdemic, it asks? Probably not. There's a picture of a sunset in Norfolk. Inside the paper, a big picture of people at the beach, and they also go with the picture of the ladies in Tudor dress with the headline, well, it's Anne Boleyn after all. Moving on, revealed shocking 4,000 racehorses condemned to the abattoir in just 2 years. Again, why are you surprised? Racehorsing is a deeply cruel sport. Pingdemic pass for NHS workers. Ministers issue new test rules to help avoid growing crisis on our wards. End of social distancing, Rule of 6 Act. And it's time for the bar, says the Mail. You're free now, but be careful. Yeah, right, okay. Will Spain and Greece join France on Amber Plus list? Probably. The most zombie-looking motherfucker in the British press, Stephen Glover, says the next few weeks will be tough. The PM must now get a grip. Right, presumably over someone else's wife. Emma's to die for, but this dazzling play is empty inside, says Patrick Marmon, reviewing Anna X at the Harold Pinter Theatre in London, starring Emma Corrin, of course, who played Princess Diana in The Crown. And get his pitchfork won't be put on sex offenders register. Double child killer and rapist Colin Pitchfork will not be placed on the sex offenders register when he walks free in a matter of days to the outrage of one of his victims. A 61-year-old has been cleared for release from an open prison and is eligible to go on the list, which was introduced in 1997. Anybody in the register must notify police. Despite the sex register decision, probation officers will still monitor the killer. What? Why has it? What? I'm not sure that they won't put him on the list. This is bizarre. That doesn't make sense. Letty Basker says, where do people think all the horses who don't make the grade or are injured by the training they're forced to endure end up? And there's the outrage about the billions of farm animals, each one sentient individuals who by definition have an interest in continued existence, who also end up in slaughterhouses each year simply because we like the taste of their body secretions over. I don't really care that this is an unpopular opinion. It's the truth. I'll get my coat. It's a valid opinion, and there's absolutely space for it on this stream. Tragedy stars dessert Sir Ian's Hamlet and COVID hit Cinderella Axis shows. Oh, whatever. Dominic Lawson says, if robots are the future, why do they keep ending up on the scrap heap? Well, technology takes time, doesn't it? On page 19, Charlotte Bronte and the Chamber of Secrets for a book. Read another book. Fucking hell. For book lovers, it's like discovering Tutankhamun's tomb, a collection of priceless literary treasures hidden away for decades. Now the race is on to save them for the nation. Right. Andrew Pearce is fucking awful. On page 17 of the Mail, silver lining for Stone as Cannes ends in chaos. She's used to turning heads on the silver screen, but Sharon Stone proved she could also dazzle in the flesh in a daring silver-top gown. It's just a dress. 50,000 VIPs targeted by cyber hackers for rogue regimes is the Mail's coverage of the NSO story. They've shoved that in as a late spoiler to the Guardian's exclusive. On page 19, mother who went on the run with toddler wins custody battle. 28-year-old tells of depression, tells of desperation after return to UK. A mother who fled abroad with her toddler son during a bitter custody fight has won a battle for him to live with her. Ellie Yarrow Sanders vanished with Ollie in 2018, triggering a hunt by police and court officials. At one point, a High Court judge lifted reporting restrictions on the case in the family courts and used Twitter to appeal to her to come home. Now it's emerged that the 28-year-old from Basel in Essex has returned to Britain and is living with a 6-year-old in a secret location. A best way to deal with a really complicated family case is to write about it in the fucking Daily Mail. Leave them alone. On page 21, Formula Son. Hunt's lad shows he's just like dad, while Lewis cruises to British GP. Freddie Hunt, son of James Hunt, is chipped off the old block after he was spotted at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone over the weekend. The 34-year-old, who is also a racing driver, was pictured with glamorous actress Ellie Bamber from the BBC One drama The Serpent. He's not as handsome as his father, I would say. 10,000 hate incidents logged, but not a single crime solved. More than 10,000 hate incidents were logged last year, but not one crime was solved as a result, figures reveal. I suspect that these are somewhat twisted figures. Chronotherm, if humans are the future, why do they keep dying? On pages 22 and 23, interview with Anne Hathaway's ex. For 4 years, Oscar winner Anne Hathaway was inseparable from dashing Italian property dealer Raffaello Folieri. Then he was arrested for fraud and she dropped him like a hot brick. Here for the first time, he tells their story of passion, prison, and heartbreak. Oh, fuck off. Hey, Ratixie, good to see you. On page 24, I quit, says GB News host who took the knee. Gutahari, you moron. Like, why did you ever... Like, as if you should have... Oh, God. Anyway, anyone who's fooled by GB News, I want to sell a bridge. Hey. Happy Freedom Day. Strong Britain, great nation, says Ratixie, yes. Tributes to Tom Connor, teacher who became TV king of quizzes. On pages 26 and 27, tomorrow the Lords will scrutinise the Animal Sentience Bill that, among other things, would protect the rights of shellfish. So why do many fear it's a Trojan horse with dire consequences for rural Britain? Could the Lobster Bill be a death knell for the countryside? No. The Mirror... I'm just going to pull up this thing that Mark has put in the chat. UK runs out of COVID lateral flow tests on Freedom Day as millions order kits. Incredible scenes. Right, back to our regularly scheduled programming. On this day, July 19th, 2021. On this day in 1919, the Daily Mail was writing... The scaffolding in Whitehall around the monument to the glorious dead was removed yesterday and workmen put the final touches on Sir Edwin Lutyen's beautiful memorial, the cenotaph. Throughout the day, women brought laurel wreaths and sheaths of blooms, and there are single roses and bunches of garden flowers. On this day in 2003, the Daily Mail wrote, Tony Blair's government was facing a crisis of momentous proportions last night after being blamed for the death of a top defence scientist. Dr. David Kelly's body was found on a wooded hillside close to his Oxfordshire home after a police search yesterday. He is believed to have committed suicide after being subjected to intolerable pressure by Downing Street as it tried to shore up its case for war against Saddam. That story should never be forgotten, and Alistair Campbell should never be allowed to ever talk anywhere without that being raised. That and the deaths of thousands of Iraqis, many of them children. Vitaly Klitschko's 50 today, and Angela Griffin, the Coronation Street actress, is 45. Also born on this day, Anne Hogarth, 1919 to 1993, the rather trained English puppeteer, was the operator of Muffin the Mule. Also Max Fleischer, 1883 to 1972, Austrian-born American animator and director, created Popeye and Betty Boop, and was Walt Disney's main rival in the 1930s. One of Fleischer's many patents was for the rotoscope, for simplifying the drawing of animals in motion. First film using the technology lasted only a minute, but took more than a year to make. On July 19th, in 1941, Churchill Broadcasting to Europe endorsed the V for Victory campaign. In 1967, the Beatles went to #1 with All You Need Is Love. Quote of the day comes from Janis Joplin, who said, On stage, I make love to 25,000 people, then I go home. Joke of the day. I said no comment through my police interview. I didn't get the job. Big W for the Popeye dude. Mark Knossos. I mean, it's good that people are doing the test, but it's very funny. Whenever Campbell speaks on TV, he should be dubbed over with screams. Chronotherm, can't believe the Mail didn't complain about the workers on the cenotaph for not wearing poppies. Letty Basker's Sentience Bill is bollocks. It's a Carrie Johnson personal bugbear, basically. Dam disaster peril, page 29. Thousands flee as German floods threaten to overwhelm Barrier. It's a bit of a holy fuck picture, and yet it still won't get a lot of people to take climate change seriously. Imagine that. On the front page of Inspire, how to party like it's Freedom Day, your VIP guide. I will be partying like it's Freedom Day by continuing to wear a mask and largely staying in my house. They suggest cocktails from the Savoy, canapes from a PM's Cornish chef, party ideas from the Planet of the Stars, but the new etiquette rules you need. Let's see, what are the new etiquette rules we need? Ugly hats, apparently, is something we need. The actress Hayden Gwynn, her advice, one thing she's learned in life is, do the thing that makes you joyful. And here I am, forcing myself to read the Daily Mail. Apparently, you're never too old for a paddling pool. Various paddling pools that you can buy for adults, ranging from £125 one from Selfridge, an £80 one from Jazzwill. Cheapest one is a £45 one. Anyway, yeah. Mark Knossos is going to Hobbycraft and then Nando's after this stream. I'm going into shops and I'll certainly go to pubs and stuff, but Chronotherm, etiquette rules from the Daily Mail, raise your right arm. I'm just not going to go into, for instance, nightclubs yet. Dr. Max, the Mind Doctor, is in the paper today. He's fucking awful, and the person in the room has had her comment on him by writing twat on his head in highlighter. Why do so many fear the return to work, he says. Oh, fuck off. Tweakments to face up to life without your mask. Yes, it's the Daily Mail talking about cosmetic surgery to deal with the fact that your face has been covered with a mask. Imagine being such a fucked up paper. Let's give phone scammers the cold shoulder pad, says Stephanie Beecham. Hannah Betts says better not younger, introducing our brilliant new beauty columnist. Oh my lord. In the TV recommendations, Killing Escobar, 9 p.m. BBC 2. And in the reviews, Professor T gets 3 stars and Baptiste gets 5. The cartoons today, Garfield is eating and says, am I eating because I'm bored? He says, yes, being bored rocks. Chloe and Chloe and her friend are drinking and talking about men, and Fred Bassett has gone into the kitchen, woofed at his owner, and she's immediately given him his dinner, which is good. Selenka Meyer says, why could people possibly fear returning to workplace during global pandemic? The government has given up managing. I know, imagine that. In the straight to the point letters, Tony Carruthers writes, I'm a pensioner living in the northern Red Wall area. Go ahead, suspend the triple lock. A.L. Woods says, are there any more honours we can bestow on Cressida Dick? Robert Wright, no relation, says, maybe too many stewards for the England versus Italy match will work in from home. M. Busby writes, when Cressida Dick's woeful reign of the Met does end, will the phrase lessons have been learnt be used? G. Matthews says, with so many in the public eye signing up for celebrity versions of television shows, I look forward to celebrity naked attraction. And Peter Hadlow says, when the mini-sun being built in Oxfordshire finally turns into a red dwarf, will a black hole suck in Didcot? I don't know, we can only hope. Today's recipe is smoky chickpeas on toast. Really, do you need to learn how to do peas on toast? Various ugly clothes they're trying to sell you. And in the sport, bang out of order. Lewis blasted by rival Max for crash that handed Brit victory. History man Colin toasts Open glory. That's Colin Morikawa, who promised himself a night off after creating history at the Open and a drink out of the claret jug. So that was the Daily Mail. Give me your scores for that as I do the usual remaining things. If you've not yet joined the Discord, do. It's great, and it's good to have so many people who watch the stream on there and able to chat when we're not live. Here is the link for that. If you've enjoyed the show and you want to help me keep it going, keep buying the newspapers, and also to have more magazine specials like the one we had on Friday, chuck some coins into paypal.me/conquest of the useless. Lincoln Meyer rates the Daily Mail a triple negative nice. Same from Red Tickseed. Ooh, thank you very much. Same from Red Tickseed. And here's my present from the person in the room, which I sort of know what it is, but it's still cool.
You can review it.
It is the Lady Bird Achievements book, The Story of Newspapers. So yeah, expect that to be covered on the stream at some point. Okay, everyone, thank you very much for joining me today on this Monday stream. Don't forget that if you came in late, it will be available on VOD later and on YouTube. I always tweet out when it's on YouTube and put the link in the Discord, so join the Discord. Red Tixie's disappointed that person in the room hasn't bought me coins. Still time. All right, everyone. See you tomorrow at 1 p.m. And in the meantime, have a good day. Stay safe. And you can find me on, as I say, Twitter or in the Discord. Bye-bye.